There we go.
get a tea and some breakfast too, but
I could have got you some.
65 is horrible.
Yeah. What part of Rockland did you leave from?
Like, close to the office.
Alright, are those working for you?
There it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy. I feel like everyone on the roads right now is a lunatic too, who just can't think and just wants to sit around with their thumb in their butt and not
I know, right? Yeah. Driving's fun.
drive. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Trying to move over to Facebook Live and have all kinds of good technical problems. So.
Well, at least I made it before you went on the air. That would have been embarrassing.
We would have got you. All right, Jerry. Can you hear me now?
Test,
Katie?
test. Good?
All right.
All right.
3.5 minutes.
Trump expected to order a Mexican wall. Not talking about that. Okay.
You want to talk about that?
Lift ban on CIA black site prisons. I don't know what that means. Usain Bolt loses Olympic gold after teammate caught doping.
I know. He went from 9 to 8.
Wow.
Usain Bolt is 1 less gold medal.
Facial tumor, no. Wall Street's doing well. That supports what we're
Yeah.
talking about today. Okay.
20,000. I know, right?
All right, I'm all caught up.
Boom. You're done. Get ready. Yeah, I have an article here that I was going to talk about, which is flexible work environment is the cost of doing business is 2017.
Yeah.
So, and then I was going to, like, at some point during our conversation, bring this stuff in. Is that okay? It talks about working from home and
Yeah.
millennials want to do that, and HR has to compensate for that, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Yeah, we can talk about millennials too, because
Perfect.
I'm frankly tired of hearing about it, and I feel like they're being labeled improperly, and it's not really effective in helping move business forward.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Let's talk about how we're done talking about it.
Man, it crashed again. It's so annoying.
Oh, it's not working?
No, I got away from the station's Wi-Fi because the station's Wi-Fi sucks. So I used my phone line,
Yeah.
and it crashed on the phone
I've
line.
never used it before.
So annoying.
So Rick just moved on with
Yeah.
his practice?
Yeah. See, I don't even know if that's working. No, we'll figure it out. Yeah, he doesn't want to. I mean, he hosted last week when I was gone, so he's willing to do it periodically, but for the most part, he's done. He wants to focus on other things.
Yeah.
Huh. So are you like me that you now have 10 million additional emails a day you have to deal with the bigger firm?
Yeah. It's a lot of hours right now.
I know.
And I'm trying to build this practice,
Yeah.
which is really exciting. I'm excited, but it's been so much red tape.
Yeah. Are you getting good support from CLA?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's good.
I don't know
Yeah.
how effective it all is, but yes, we're working on it. I think it's a really good move, and I'm super excited about it.
Oh, me too. I think it's great, but
Yeah.
it's the downside of. Were you with a bigger firm way back when in your career?
Perry Smith, which was smaller than CLA.
Yeah. So I mean, I was
So now-
PwC, so I know what it's like. It's just there's a lot more committees and
Yeah.
lines of reporting, so people have different. So I've already had two or three, phone calls and webinars this week. I've got some more coming.
Oh, I've been able to get away from most of that.
You're lucky.
I report straight into the head of consulting, Yasir. So, well, kind of him and Larry, but Larry, I haven't seen Larry once.
I know.
But
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Numbers on Money 105.5 FM, part of the Wall Street Business Network. I'm your host, Mark Bellows. I used to have a co-host last year, but Rick is now taking time off, and so he actually hosted last week. But I'm your host, Mark Bellows. I'm a principal with Clifton Larson Allen, a firm that recently acquired my prior firm, Galena. I work with manufacturing distribution companies, contractors, real estate people, the businesses, their owners, strategy planning, and compliance, and it is that time of year. And so I have a guest today. Hi, Katie.
Good morning.
Katie McConnell. She is what's your title?
My title with Clifton Larson Allen
Yes.
is Hiring and Operations Consulting Practice Lead. So essentially
Okay.
what I do is I help middle market clients make hires. So all things recruiting, development, job descriptions,
Right.
in-house internship programs, everything recruiting.
Excellent. So we'll talk about that in the course of the day today. I do have some stuff I want to go through real quick about this is tax season. Tax season's getting started. You can start filing your returns, I believe, on Monday with the IRS. And so this is for the tax season. There are 10 important changes and tips and 10 wacky deductions. I think I've gone through these before, so kind of interesting. So a couple things I want to talk about, these changes and things for people to be aware of. First off, the filing deadline is you get extra days. April 15th is a Saturday, which would make it Monday the 17th. But Monday the 17th is Emancipation Day in Washington, D.C. And so it's actually Tuesday the 18th is when taxes are due.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so 3 extra days this year.
April
That means
18th.
I worked 3 extra days this year.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly, so great. If you use your car for work, the mileage deduction is less generous. You get a standard mileage rate for business, as you know, and the amount went down. It was 54 cents a mile in 2016, down from 57.5 in 2015. That's for business. If you use your car for charity, it's 14 cents a mile. And there's talk amongst, President Trump and the House and the Senate that possibly they might try to bring those two rates closer together. They're not going to reduce the miles for, business, but they may raise the rates for charity-driven miles. So we'll see. If you earn less than $64,000 a year, which is 70% of taxpayers earn less than $64,000 a year, which is, that's a lot in my mind. That's surprising, but you can get your taxes done for free through some various websites, TurboTax, Nationwide, etc. So don't forget to miss out, or don't forget to take advantage of that if you're one of those that earn $64,000 or less. Tax brackets, as you know, change each year, and so I think in 2016 the brackets went up a little bit. So you may have been in one rate last year, and if your income's the same, you could be in actually a lower tax rate this year because the rates go up. And again, that's something that we're going to see change under Trump and the Republican Congress. I think tax rates are going to go down. It's just a question of how much. The Affordable Care Act penalty doubles this year. I actually had a couple clients that were subject to that penalty last year.
Wow.
It can be onerous. It was anyone without health insurance for more than 3 months of the year, it's the penalty of $695 per adult, or 2.5% of the income, whichever is higher. So that can be a big number. I had some clients who paid thousands of dollars in penalties for not being insured. And so, of course, who knows what's going to happen with ACA under the president? But we know what's going to happen. It's going to go away. But
right.
Who knows how it's going to what it's going to get replaced with? So anyway, keep that in mind. Last year the penalty was $325 a person. This year it's $695. So it's almost doubled. Personal exemptions, standard deductions increased. We get deductions from our income for those things. Family health saving account contribution limits go up for families, but not for individuals. Tax credit, the EITC, Earned Income Tax Credit for low income earners, it gets a bump. The credit a taxpayer can get is $6,269 for someone who marries, filing joint, and has 3 kids. But the IRS is not going to refund any EITC credits until late February. So we don't typically have any clients that fall into that, but there are a number that do. Lower income, it's less than 70% of people make, or more than 70% of people make less than $64,000. Some of them in that area. And number 10 is size the average refund and some other trivia. So the IRS expects that 153 million individual returns will be filed this year. 153 million, so that's quite a bit. More than 80% will be prepared electronically. Preparers such as myself have to deal with them electronically. Last year, the average refund amount, I'll give you a chance to guess. I will give you parameters. Do you think it was more than 1,000?
Are we talking federal, state, or combined?
Federal.
I'm going to go $542.
That's a nice guess. That's very precise. It's wrong. That's a nice guess. Go higher.
2007.
Oh, you're getting closer.
I don't
it's actually $2,857.
Wow,
This
that's
year it's
surprisingly
expected
high.
somewhere. Yeah, it is. I think, you know, and a lot of the clients I work with, especially those who earn wages, they get W-2s and the taxes withheld, they like to get refunds. A lot of people like to get refunds. Now, keep in mind, if you're getting a refund, that means that the government is using your money
Right.
interest-free. So
talk to your tax advisor.
yeah, talk to the tax advisor, possibly reducing the amount
out
you're
to
paying in.
zero.
Yeah, they're close to zero. But a lot of people like getting the refund. They'll use that for vacations or doing something in in April. But definitely the economy, you see a bump in right after tax time because of that. And 9 out of the 10 taxpayers get their refund within 21 days or fewer, which is nice and quick. And if you use electronic deposit, it gets much quicker. So clients that have to do electronic deposit get them in like 20 to 21 days. Like this says, ones who don't usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks. There are some scams going out there. So yes, one of them is, and I got this email, it's for tax preparers, and I got one yesterday. Hello, I would like you to do our 2016 taxes totally unsolicited. Some person, right? We currently live in Spain. We left the USA in October and officially left our jobs. Are you still able to complete our 2016 taxes even though we live abroad? Please let us know. So you respond to this and say, well, yes, I can do that. And then they say, well, here's a link for you to download our information. And when you click on the link, spamware or malware comes on your computer. So they're going after tax preparers. Fortunately, we haven't bought into any of those.
No.
Usually the wording's pretty bad. I have an example here of the wording where it was, gosh. And I saw one of these yesterday too that was in my spam folder. What are they saying? I need a careful and experienced high-quality accountant to handle all matters of accounting. I don't need a stereotypically dull, introverted, and boring accountants. I believe in things like that. Trying to find attached is my tax documents. And so when they use poor English, usually that's a good giveaway that they're not really from here. W-2s this year, 50 million of them are going to include a 16-digit verification code. And that code has to be given to your tax preparer so that your return can be filed electronically. It's part of the trying to do reduce identity theft. So 50 million of them. So I think a lot of people are going to see that and may not be ready for it. Let's see, what else? If you have an individual tax ID number, because in the past, because you were subject to some type of fraud, those things expire after a couple of years, so you have to get new ones, and it takes time to apply. Usually you apply now, and it takes up to 11 weeks for the IRS to get back to you with a number. So, thing to be aware of.
Get on it.
Yeah, get on it. So we're going to take a break, go into commercial. When we come back, I'm going to talk about a couple strange but legitimate tax deductions, and then we'll get into some information with Katie. You listen to Beyond the Numbers on Monday 105.5 FM, part of the Wall Street Business Network.
Rick was a victim of one of those scams where they called him and said, oh, this is the IRS.
Is that right?
We need to verify some information because you're being sued by the IRS. And he goes, really?
Huh.
What's your badge number? And they made it up, and it was crazy. He ended up, I guess he was on a job site or something, so he ended up calling them back a couple times.
Yeah.
It ended up being a guy who ended up telling him, I'm in Pakistan, there's armed guards everywhere, you know.
I have to do this or I'll die.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
Because he goes, well, this obviously isn't the IRS, because when I called back and they said, hello, IRS, it's like, no, that's not how this works.
IRS, yeah.
Yeah. And I forget what name, it was like Mike Jones, and they all had like American names. But he ended up, after a couple calls and pushing on the guy finally said, are you a cop? No, here's the story.
Wow.
We're trapped here, we're being held hostage, and there's armed guards outside.
That's crazy.
And this is really going on.
So they give him the information.
Well,
Help
he
the poor
goes,
guy out.
what's your badge number? And the guy reads off some random numbers, like, okay, interesting. So if you have all of my information and you're looking at my tax return, then why do you need me to give you the information? And it was just, I mean, people fall prey to this, though. I mean, my grandma was a prime example of somebody that if they called and said they were the government, she'd open up her checkbook and be like, oh, well, here's my credit card number.
Yeah, it's crazy. And people do. I mean, that's why they do it, right? Because people do fall prey to it.
Huey Lewis is going to be at the Thunder Valley Casino.
What's that?
In August. Huey Lewis.
Oh, he's going to be there?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you going to go see him?
Well, I sent it to my mom. She looks like she just texted me asking if I want to go for my birthday. It's the day before my birthday.
Oh.
I think it would be really fun. I used to be a big fan when I was a kid.
It probably would be fun. All right, and you're back. We're back. You're listening to Beyond the Numbers on Monday 105.5 FM, part of the Wall Street Business Network. Katie was just telling me that scams, one of the common scams, or some less common scams, but the ones that still happen, is when someone calls and says they're from the IRS. And just so you know, the IRS is not going to call you They're not going to email you. What the IRS does, if they're going to get hold of you, is they send a letter first. They do not call and say, hi, we're the IRS. Please give us your information or verify your information. They don't send an email and says, this is the IRS, you need to respond right away or we're going to take you to jail. But the problem is that people get scared by that. They respond to that, and that's why those scams work.
Yep.
So real quick, I want to go through a couple strange but legitimate tax deductions, and then we'll get into Katie, what she's doing and what's new and exciting in the world of employment. So if you're a whaling captain, or a whaling ship.
This is probably really common.
Well, it is. I think we have a lot of people watching and listening.
Especially in Sacramento with the recent rain.
With the huge whale captain populations. They can take a deduction of up to $10,000 on ship repairs. Very exciting. So good thing to know. However, whaling is banned in the United States for all the Native American people. So if you're a Native American whaler, you can take advantage of this. Good thing to know. Pet moving. If you relocate for a new job and you're going to have your pet go with you, you can deduct the cost of moving the pet. Not everyone knows that. So you can deduct costs of transportation of household goods and that type of stuff. Transportation, moving of household goods, and also moving of your pet.
Is there a rule on how far away you have to move?
50 miles. 50.
Shoot.
You're moving, but it's not even 50. Yeah. No, 50 is it. Oh, here's an interesting one. If your child has an overbite, right? And you can enroll them in clarinet lessons, and it's a medical deduction.
Only clarinet, not the flute.
Only clarinet. This goes back to 1962 because an orthodontist argued that playing the clarinet helps with the child's overbite, and therefore it qualifies as a medical deduction. So if your child has an overbite, clarinet's an expense. Let's see, if you have to swim for a doctor prescribed medical condition that swimming will help, you can deduct costs of the pool or upkeep of the pool. Of course, quitting smoking is one where you can take a deduction for cessation programs, the patch, that type of stuff. In certain cases, not a blanket deduction, so be careful, but we can definitely talk about that if that's something you're looking into. If you are doing charity work, and so therefore you need to have your children in childcare for the period you're doing charity work, that childcare could be deductible because of the charity work you're doing. It's something worth looking into. If you're a criminal, you get caught doing a criminal enterprise, which will probably no criminals that ever listen to this station, but if someone knows of someone, let's say, typically your income from being a criminal is taxable, but the expenses are not, right? So it's not a business. But if you have the amount you pay for your legal defense, could be deductible.
All the criminals I know file their tax returns on time.
Yeah. Well, they try to deduct their legal defense expenses, right? So there you go. Getting in shape. If a doctor says your physical condition could jeopardize your health or your life, you can write off the cost of remedies if the doctor signs off on them. So weight loss plans and that type of stuff. If you have a dog that's protecting your business, maybe you've got a wrecking yard and you've got a dog that runs around keeping people from jumping the fence and stealing things or whatever, you can write that off, the cost of that as security. And lastly, a stripper that got a breast enlargement was able to write that off as business expense because she's in the business and paying taxes on that. So some strange but true tax deductions, things to look for.
Never hurts to ask.
I know. So before we got on there, we looked and noticed the Dow is up, first time ever, 20,000.
Over 20,000.
Over 20,000.
Huge.
So the economy doing well, really responding well to the new administration.
Absolutely. I think we've been seeing an uptick for quite a while.
Yeah.
Housing inventory is still down. Actually, listed my house on the market Tuesday, had 4 offers by Friday.
Really? Did you accept one yet?
I did.
Nice, congratulations.
Yes, and a backup offer. So
that's fast.
I think that's a testament to what we're seeing in the market it's still a seller's market very much. And
agreed. Yeah, I was at a conference last week down in Southern California, and it was real estate investors and developers, big players getting together trying to do deals. But the common theme was we're in the 90, depending on how you look at it, 92nd, 93rd, 94th straight month of economic improvement. So we're out of the recession. The economy's doing really well. The thought is it's probably going to do well for a while being a year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, there's some good couple, well, I don't know, 3 years, but a year or 2 years probably is what most people are thinking.
Absolutely. I have a heavy concentration in construction and real estate clients. Looking at their backlog, a lot of them are looking at 50 to 100% growth in the next 1 to 2 years.
That's
with
huge.
Their revenue and their backlog in the $10 to $150 million space.
So tell the listeners what it is you do with your clients.
Sure. My specialty is in all things recruiting. So I run a practice hiring and operations consulting, and essentially we help middle market clients in the say $5 to $200 million space make hires. So that can be everything from a full service executive search, from creating the role through helping with the interviews, negotiating the offer letter, and helping make the hire through just kind of spotty consulting services if the client just needs help with the job description, just needs help through the interview process, or maybe a termination letter for an existing staff. All things recruitment.
Okay, so someone could come to you and say, we've got an opening for a position, and you do accounting type positions? You
Started
do HR.
Heavy in finance.
Right.
HR. I've done a lot of manufacturing, industrial lately.
So like shop people,
maintenance
and
manager,
and
general manager, superintendent, project management, superintendents, higher level stuff.
Yeah.
We operate on an hourly basis, so the value is there over a contingent fee with a traditional headhunter.
I was gonna say it's a unique value proposition.
It's a very unique business model.
Yeah.
It turns out there's a good market for it because it saves money and the value proposition is there.
So the traditional headhunter, if you will, or recruiter, would charge what, 30% of this first year salary or something like that?
Used to be 20%, but lately I'm seeing their letters come through with other clients. 30% looks like it's the new standard because it's really, it's a candidate's market right now because the market is tight.
Right.
There are more opportunities than there are good candidates at that level, so they're charging 30%.
So one of these manufacturer, positions you're talking about would maybe be a new hire at what, 40, 50, 60,000, it's kind of in that range?
Sure, so a controller position in Sacramento, let's call it a $100,000 job, $30,000 fee to hire that person.
$30,000 fee, and you would go on an hourly rate and probably incur less than $30,000.
Much less than $30,000.
Yeah.
Average fees hit between 8 and 12. It
Wow.
depends on the job, how long it takes, how many clients, how many candidates we talk to.
So good point, 8 to 12. So if it's a lower paying position, and they're going to use a recruiter, but lower paying positions, they don't typically use recruiters, right? There are other formats to get those.
They might. There are several organizations in the Bay and Sacramento where I actually do all the hiring for the organization, no matter the role.
What type of organization does?
So a large nonprofit organization here in Sacramento.
Okay.
Actually 2 construction companies here in the Sacramento area, or greater Sacramento area.
And so you hire all levels?
Correct.
Okay, so the 2 construction companies.
We're working on a staff accountant role for one. We did an accounts payable supervisor. The construction company we're looking at actually also implementing an in-house internship program for one of them, so helping on the in-house recruiting side. I was actually at their board meeting Monday talking about a referral program. So how can we really utilize that to leverage our existing employees to get out there and help us bring in new candidates?
Right.
One of the best ways and underutilized ways that companies can find new talent.
So how long have you been in this role? Now, of course, CLA for both of us is new because Galena merged into CLA or was acquired by CLA as of January.
Very exciting.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So and like I've experienced, you've experienced the same, which is this ability to tap into greater resources is just enabling us to serve our clients that much better.
Yes, we have a lot of exciting things coming down the pike this year. Some webcasts for different industries on how companies can better hire. So better job descriptions, how to interview, how to source, so lots of good content coming out.
Great.
You can find me on LinkedIn, follow my page. We'll be posting a lot of good content as we roll out our programs this year.
Good, and I posted on LinkedIn that you were going to be on the show and connect or linked it to you.
I saw that.
Put your name on there, whatever, so. I tried to, are you still not on Twitter?
I'm not.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to do it.
Okay, well I tweeted and you weren't.
One more password to remember.
I know. And one of the things I've noticed with the new firm is there's a lot more passwords to remember.
So many passwords
I
to
know.
remember.
Long passwords.
I don't have that much room on the palm of my hand.
So you came to the predecessor to CLA Galena, how long ago?
I joined Galena in 2013 to build out their in-house recruiting department. So got some experience under my belt building out an in-house department, which is really exciting because now I can translate that over to my clients and help them with building out their in-house departments and kind of the trials and tribulations that we went through that process. I can, they don't have to recreate.
Right. And so you came to Galena in 2015. What did you do before that?
I was in recruiting before that. I was in finance recruiting, and prior to that had been a part of a couple of startups. My background is in finance and as a CPA, so I was an auditor and then had a couple of tax seasons with a smaller CPA firm where we did both tax and audit.
So you understand that part of the business.
Yep, absolutely. So that's what brought me to the finance recruiting, and then last year decided I needed to get the HR creds under my belt given my finance background. So went and sat for the PHR test, which is Professional of Human Resources. Essentially, it's the CPA of the HR world.
Right.
So now I am equipped to talk about union laws. I learned about exemption rules, all kinds of things that I was getting questions about from clients that really, it was new to me.
So do you do much HR consulting outside of rehiring?
No.
Okay.
No, and Clifton Larson Allen does have those resources,
Right.
so we can do that. We can now write employee handbook updates, we can rewrite job descriptions for compliance purposes, but for my purposes, it's all things hiring. So I try I try to stay away from that compliance side of things.
Yeah. So you got the PHR, and that helps you in terms of hiring and being involved with the HR type hiring.
Yes,
So
and just tapping into that network in
Yeah.
Sacramento and the Bay especially. My big markets right now are Sacramento, the Bay Area, and believe it or not, Salt Lake City, which has about a 1% unemployment rate at the executive level.
1%.
Their
That's
candidate
great.
pool is amazing, and they're just on fire out there.
And what types of businesses are you working with in Salt Lake City?
You know, mostly manufacturing right now, but I have a couple of professional services and then one large retail organization that's really just growing this year.
Right, right.
I'm seeing a lot of management owner changes where going G2 to G3, second generation being purchased by third generation, a lot of retirements. I think folks, 401ks are looking better.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting ready to go, okay, I can actually exit the workforce now. I've built up a nest egg after the recession.
Well, and the baby boomers, are aging, of course, more and more. And a lot of them, I think, especially as I got to 2008 and 9, had to put off retirement because everything changed.
Absolutely.
And so now they've built back up to a point where...
And we're thinking about that now and going, okay, what does that look like? What does that structure look like? Let's get a non-owner management team in here. How do we go about doing that when you've never had to hire or your current controller has been here for 20 years?
Yeah.
Things are different now.
Yeah, and we've got Clifton Larson Allen, CLA's got a lot of experience working with that, and we work with a lot of clients doing that type of stuff. And then I'm actively talking to some of my clients now, the same thing.
Well, you do some estate planning work too, don't you?
Yeah, estate planning kind of ties in, but definitely succession planning is a big deal because so many people are aging. I mean, everyone's aging.
Everybody.
Every day, right?
I'm older than I was yesterday.
I'm older than I was when we started the show. But the business owners are getting closer and closer to retirement. How about that? And so they need, like you said, they need an out. They're looking for a way to an exit strategy. And exit strategies typically are not quick. And sometimes you get an unsolicited offer, right? And so you may be able to get out quick. But typically the exit strategy timeline is years long.
Absolutely.
Years long, a couple, 2, 3, 5 years sometimes. So we try to work with our clients to get them to start planning 5 years out at least for their exit from the business. So we are going to take a break. When we get back, we'll talk about what you're seeing in the market right now. Jerry's saying something. I have no idea what he's saying. 40 seconds? You just gave me the minute mark. All right, we got 40 seconds. So when we get back, we'll talk about the 2017 outlook you've got, what you're seeing in employment, hiring, how you're thinking the Bay Area is looking, how Sacramento's looking.
Absolutely. And a little teaser, I want to talk about millennials.
Excellent.
I know,
yes, let's cover millennials.
Let's talk about that.
Because we haven't covered them.
And hiring expectations, kind of the gap I'm seeing.
Good, and I have an article that will kind of tie into that. So we'll be right back. You listen to Beyond the Numbers. Did you want some water?
Sure. Thank you.
They actually have coffee in it too, and
I
tea.
don't drink coffee. Thank you.
I think they have tea if you want. The camera. $20,067.
That's how many
is what
people
the
are
Dallas-
listening?
No,
I'm like,
no,
wow.
no,
We
I'm
are
at
killing
3
it.
right now.
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be killing it. No, but Brian,
3
a friend of mine, Brian, mentioned it.
outside of the car radios, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
3
Yeah,
all
who
night.
knows what the car radio is? I'm sure it's many millions.
Oh my
But
gosh, where's my phone? Okay. I left my work phone at Rick's yesterday. I was
Do you have multiple phones?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I get creepers as a recruiter.
Is that right? Really?
Yeah, I get
Creepers being people.
candidates that get angry, that are upset that they didn't get the job, or they just get weird. I had one guy who, when I met him in person for an interview, he was like, "Oh, you look just like all of your pictures," and then he pulled up his phone and
Oh
he
my
had
God.
downloaded pictures
Actually,
of
that's
me.
not funny.
It was scary. I was
that's
like,
creepy.
and then I had the one guy that brought a gun to an interview.
Really?
Well, and then to make.
Does he have a CCW permit though? You
I
have
don't
a
care.
gun, don't you carry a gun?
No, but my parents and Rick both, they all
Okay.
have CCWs, but still, you don't carry a gun to an interview. It was inside a suit jacket, and then
Depends on the job.
he was like a Russian guy, and then I ended up telling him. I didn't tell anyone else.
Did you bring it to the office?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And I said to him later, it isn't going to work out because we didn't think that it was a good culture fit, and he interpreted that as the culture of being Russian didn't align.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jesus.
And so
I
then
can see that.
I had to get legal involved because he kept calling and threatening me, and so I just keep it separate. It's a pain
That's
that
smart, yeah.
I don't want to have to change my phone number.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
Naomi
creepy.
does the same thing too.
Is that
She
right?
has too. It's a recruiter thing. Otherwise, yeah, I've had too many incidents.
Well.
You'd think with MBAs and CPAs, but now I'm doing like maintenance managers. Those guys are actually like salt of the earth, really good people.
Yeah.
The MBA CPA that went crazy on me last time was like, I am homeless, I don't have a job, you don't care about me. He went nuts.
Wow.
I forget what his name was.
That's
Maybe his name
scary.
was Mark something or other actually.
This March.
Mark Cochran, I think.
Is that right?
Nuts. Yeah.
Wow. Scary.
Yeah, so I don't mess around with it anymore. Especially because it's so easy to punch in your name and then you can get the address from your CPA license.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You can't keep that stuff hidden. Wait. Big bucks. And we're back. You listened to, we're back. You listened to Beyond the Numbers on 105.5 FM, part of the Wall Street Business Network. A little excited there. So, I'm talking today with Katie McConnell. She is the, oh my God, I should write this down. So that I don't have to
Hiring and
ask you.
operations
Hiring and
consulting
operations
practice
consulting
leader.
Practice leader with Clifton Larson Allen. And what number can people get a hold of you at?
916-784-7800.
Which is also the same way they can get a hold of me.
There
That's
you
our
go.
office number. If they want to email you, do you do email or do you prefer phone as initial?
Email's great. It's katie.mcconnell@claconnect.com.
Okay, McConnell with 2 N's and 2 L's?
Yep.
Okay.
2 C's, 2 N's, 2 L's.
Yeah, you're asked too well. So katie.mcconnell@claconnect.com or 916-784-7800. So if you have recruiting and hiring needs, do you also take unsolicited resumes from people who are looking for a position?
Yes, I mean, it never hurts. However, I do work for the client, not for the candidate.
Right.
I don't represent candidates.
So you don't take on someone to try to find them a position?
No, I will not take a candidate to market. However, if somebody knows somebody, it's always good to have them in the database,
Right.
and you never know. I can always add them to my list. I do periodically blast out jobs in the Sacramento Bay Area, Salt Lake City, Seattle, to my contacts. So my bankers, lawyers, other
Right.
CPAs get that email, and they're passing it along to their contacts too.
Okay.
So it never hurts to be on the hotline.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you a millennial? Or you're a Gen X?
You
What
know,
do you consider?
I am from Quincy, up in good old Northern California,
Yeah,
with one stoplight and no Starbucks. So I identify more as a Gen Xer. I think I'm right on the cusp of millennial and Gen X, but because I blame it on the technology not getting to us for years after it was already in Sacramento,
Yeah.
that I identify more as a Gen Xer.
And you've won some awards, right? You've been recognized in the business community here in Sacramento.
I have, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to tell us about those.
Okay, you're going to embarrass me.
I'm totally
Already.
going to embarrass you. Well, and this, I think, just goes to show how well you've done with what you're doing, with your building your practice, and the business community recognizing that.
And a lot of really, really amazing people
Sure.
in the Sacramento and the Bay Area community here in California supporting that. I was on the Business Journal's 40 Under 40 list a few years ago.
Congratulations.
Fortunately, I have
Because you're millennial.
a few more years
Yeah.
before I age out of that. I also won, I believe it was 2015, a national award from AICPA for Women to Watch Awards.
Women
So
to Watch,
emerging
yeah.
leader. And that, I think I got lucky, thanks to being on the 40 Under 40 list, that probably helped. And then also just building a new practice. What we're doing really hasn't been seen in the market before with this kind of business model.
Yeah.
So it's kind of new and shaking up the industry. I'm pretty unconventional, which I actually had someone hang up on me last week. I was pitching our services and she hung up on me, and I said, well, okay, she's not my customer.
Yeah.
But and the reason for that was that I had told her she wanted a very specific candidate. Well, we need this software experience, we need 10 years of experience with a $100 million plus company, they have to have manufacturing experience. And I said, respectfully, I don't hire to that. I hire to aptitude and attitude.
Right.
I can teach somebody accounting, I can teach somebody the compliance of a union environment, but I can't teach somebody, if they're a bad apple, then they're going to contaminate your whole pool. And she's not a client.
That did not work
So
out.
best of luck, hopefully.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I see that argument, because that is the old school way to hire, is here's the criteria, let's go find someone that fits
Right.
with this box. And it's not that way anymore. And a lot of times they come back when they try it on their own, and maybe they find someone that meets the criteria but is a taint to their culture.
Right.
They turn around and they become a client. So it's a long-term play.
Yeah, of course. So getting back to the reason, I think part of the reason why you've won those awards, and win an award, why you've been recognized for what you're doing, is because you're doing, as you mentioned, something that's not been done in the marketplace before. So which is very entrepreneurial, I think, of you. So maybe tell our listeners a little bit like how you got to that point. I mean, you have a recruiting background, but you changed the model.
I changed the model kind of by accident.
Right.
It was sort of just a whim and an idea. CPA firms get asked all the time because of our network, hey, do you guys know anybody that is a controller in the market?
Right.
And I...
CPA firm, again, point well taken. CPA firms all the time, clients say, hey, we need a new controller, or someone you meet out there, we need a controller. Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
It's a great example.
But CPA firms are not in the business of hiring.
Correct.
They're in the business of tax audit compliance
Yeah.
advisory work.
Yeah.
So I saw an opportunity and thought, let's give it a try, and fine-tuned it. And here we are now, running a full-fledged practice, adding team members, expanding our services outside of just search into that consulting piece, in-house recruiting, pre-merger, as we mentioned before the break, for that exit strategy and transaction work.
And Galena has had a West Coast presence, if you will. So Seattle, Salt Lake City, Sacramento, Bay Area, Ontario, Nevada. And then we joined forces with CLA as the first year, and CLA's got a national presence. So your practice here has been combined with the CLA existing practice. So what is it this similar to what they've been doing, or?
So no, actually, it's a new practice line. CLA does have,
because CPA firms don't typically
exactly,
do what you're
it's
doing.
totally unheard of.
Yeah.
And when they acquired us, they sort of didn't know what to do with it. And after much discussion, they said, we think maybe there's something to this, so let's go ahead and fold it in. CLA, on the consulting side, we do also have human resources consulting, as we talked about earlier in the show. And then they also have a traditional executive search, which is a contingent search.
Right.
That space operates really in financial institutions. So they're not playing in the same sandbox as me, because banks are kind of a whole different animal, and I don't work with banks. My specialties have been concentrated in manufacturing, construction, professional service, and not-for-profit.
Okay.
So our plans are, world domination, helping one company at a time.
As you build up the
Exactly. So
yeah.
hopefully taking things national for the time being, still covering that Seattle to Salt Lake down to LA triangle, if you will,
right.
here on the West Coast, building market share here. And I mean, really, at the end of the day, every day I get to go home feeling like I helped companies make their lives easier so they could do their job better, and I get to help people get jobs that help their lives.
That's great.
So it's a pretty awesome gig.
Yeah. And again, we're talking with Katie McConnell. She's with CLA. Her number 916-784-7800, or katie.mcconnell@claconnect.com. So what are you seeing right now out there in the market for, how's 2017 looking for employment and jobs?
Well, I will tell you, I have a company in Benicia, Vallejo area. We did interviews. I did phone interviews last Friday. We're trying to get people in for in-house interviews Monday, and 2 of those candidates are already off the market.
Is that right? It's kind of like your house. They're off the market within days.
The inventory is low.
Yeah.
And the demand is high right now. So
and are you seeing that across levels?
I'm seeing that across markets as well. So that happens to be Bay Area. I'm seeing that in Sacramento. I'm seeing that in Salt Lake, absolutely. And I'm seeing that at all levels of organizations. In-demand candidates do not last on the market very long. So it's no longer, we're going to do a first interview, we're going to do a second, we're going to do a third, let's do a personality profile.
Wow.
We have to move quick and make decisions within, I've got about a 2-month cycle from engagement with an initial client through a butt in the seat,
Wow.
as we say in hiring, through the 2-week notice, the background check, and the first day onboarding.
So the model has changed because the market's had to adapt to what's out there.
It's very fast, which is scary for a lot of folks, especially if you've had someone in the seat for 15 years who's retiring and you're replacing them with somebody new. You're just not seeing candidates want to linger and go through a very long courtship with a company anymore. It's a very quick turnaround. Just like buying a house, you walk through it one time and you make a decision about it now.
Right.
It's different.
That is definitely different.
And you're also not seeing candidates stay in their job for 15 years. So, you know, I have to coach my clients. If you get 5-8 years out of somebody, that's a win.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And their jobs are dropping. Like, we need somebody that's going to retire here. That's just not the market anymore. No. If you get somebody who doesn't have other options, they might not be our best option either.
Now, do you see that a difference, going back to what we're going to get to millennials, do you see that a difference in between, let's say, Gen Xers or baby boomers and millennials? Not baby boomers, you probably place position because they're all kind of aging out. But in terms of like the longevity, like if someone who's older like me would want to, I want that job for life, whereas maybe someone younger is like, I want that for 5 or 7 years and I'm probably going to switch.
I mean, I think the reality is that we have to create the opportunity that stays big enough for the candidate, and if the candidate outgrows the opportunity, we should help them move into a new opportunity at any level. Also, yes, the later stage career candidates tend to be less risk-oriented.
Later stage career candidate.
I think that's like politically correct.
That's a great term, okay. Jerry, you and I are later stage career candidates.
Tend to be less risk oriented, but you know, we're also seeing that folks that quote retire don't exit the workforce. They come back as consultants.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that they're hanging around for a long, long time.
Well, for instance, with CLA, our retirement age is 62. So when I'm turned 62, I'm not gonna probably walk away. I'm gonna
become a consulting.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
you go. Yeah. I hate the millennial label. I'm so tired of it, as I'm sure everyone else is in hearing about it. I'm telling my candidate or my clients who are asking, well, how should we change the interview for the millennials? This is what they want to see. No, interview for the specifications of the job and the needs of the company. Don't tailor your interview to a label. I mean, I feel bad for these folks because I feel like they're being unfairly labeled for things that are not catching up with them. You know, we have to catch up with the changes in technology. We can't expect them to conform to the way things were forever. So and we wouldn't label, you know, other demographics the same way that we label millennials. But I've never had a client say, how do we interview for a middle-aged woman? What do we do? How do we change that? But they ask me how do we change things for someone in their 20s? And
Is that right?
Like
really?
It's okay. And it's the same thing.
Well, I'd say first off, don't have them fax in the resume.
Right.
No one has a fax.
I don't even know how to use a fax.
I don't even know in the office. It's all electronic. We're going to take a break. When you get back, we'll continue our conversation with Katie McConnell. You'll listen to Beyond the Numbers on my 105.5 FM, part of the Wall Street Business Network. Gotta get that a little quicker.
Wow, time is flying.
I know, right?
So are you still looking at doing like the set up the schedule, interview the people, and all that stuff?
Do you mean for
here, for the radio show?
Yeah. And are you still interested in jumping in?
Yeah, if we do it like that, I am, but I would want to go like, let's set up a whole schedule or maybe do months of themes and like release videos like what Mark Haney is doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so if there was more structure around it, I would totally be on board.
Well, and we're working with Mark S. is working with CLA to try to get the video from each show on the website.
Marcus is?
Mark's Skipjack. Subcheck.
Marketing Mark. Got it.
Sorry, Mark S. So he's working with CLA. So assuming we get the okay with CLA to do that, then we're going to start posting these as well as the MP3 from the show, and then I'm going to turn them into podcasts once I get that going. Because I need a domain to house the MP3 before I can turn it into a podcast. So
I would love to have it be.
And would you be fine with not? I mean, because it's going to be medical, it's going to be manufacturing, it's going to be finance, it's going to be a lawyer, it's going to be I mean, it's going to be all kinds of stuff. So
we could do different hot topics. Are you in a Vistage group?
I'm not. No.
I'm trying to get into one right now.
Are you?
Yeah, we'll find out what their kind of pain points are. Eric Alexander, I think. We have a call at 10 or 11 today.
Is he a Vistage?
Yeah, Brad McDowell connected me with him.
Okay. Because I know a couple of them, Lonnie and the other guy. So Ross Coker's one.
Yeah, I know. He's been weird about giving me a trouble.
And we're back. You're listening to Beyond the Numbers on my 105.5 FM, part of the Wall Street Business Network. Katie and I were we're just talking about, before we went to break, about the fact that millennials now have, the people who are in that age group have this albatross around their neck of this label of millennial.
Right.
So
and what's coming about Gen Z, right, is after them.
It's my kids.
And that's going to be totally a different thing as well.
Oh, totally, yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned from a hiring perspective, throw that out the window and interview to the specifications of the job and the needs of the company, not to the individual.
Right.
So
right.
let's not worry about whether they're a millennial and what that means.
Yeah.
You know, the world is constantly changing.
So I have an article here from Mashable, which I think Mashable kind of conglomerates articles from different places, but this is talks a flexible work environment. Wow, a flexible work environment is the cost of doing business in 2017. So it talks about a Gallup poll in 2014 found the average 40-hour work week is actually more like 47 hours. So globalization, increased connectivity, advent of tools like Slack. What is Slack?
You know what? I just heard about this at an HR board that I sit on last week. It's some kind of online forum where folks can post information, and it's a communication tool.
Okay.
An online communication tool.
So that not only keeps employees in contact, they keep them on the clock. So this is where flexibility comes into play. Employees may be more willing to accept the new norm of work-life integration if the perks are enticing enough. Are you seeing that?
Absolutely. One of the first things that I talk about with my clients when we take on a job is, what are the selling points? Why would somebody want to work here? And these are simple things, but a lot of times they haven't thought about it because they haven't had to.
Right.
It's, well, we've had employee loyalty and we are who we are. Well, okay, we need to talk about that. So what flexible hours, sometime between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. is standard. So if you have very rigid hours, that's going to turn a lot of candidates off.
Well, you know, I'm thinking about when I first started in public accounting, which was back in '89. Excuse me. 89. I started at the Pricewaterhouse in San Diego, and then came up here in '91. But in San Diego, the partner in charge of the office, a guy named John Wingfield, would walk around and see who was there at 5:30 at night, right? To who's still here working at their desk, right? And the partner in charge in Sacramento did the same thing. He'd walk around and see who's there at 5 o'clock at night. Right. You know, that's the old model. I mean, accounting firms, you know, when I could grow up, but that's kind of used to be the thing. You had to be there at 8 when the doors opened, or earlier, and be there till 5 or later when the doors closed. And you do your desk, do your work, and you know, it's changed. It's not that way
Absolutely.
now. People don't want to do that.
And of course, as we've seen recently in the media, the women's initiatives are hotter than ever as far as having attention drawn to them. It's very difficult to have a working mother in the workforce if the flexibility isn't there.
Yes.
And, you know, being a part of that demographic, not being a mother, but many friends, they're putting in a ton of hours. The flexibility just has to be there to take your laptop home and log in at night after the kids go to bed. Things like, I'm sure you've done that as your children have grown up as well.
Yes. Well, and it says, in fact, an overwhelming majority of the professionals on both the employee and HR side surveyed for this article mentioned working remotely is not just a perk, but the new normal.
Absolutely.
WFH, they say here. It's the
Working
new
from
normal.
home.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know the acronym.
Absolutely.
We live in a world of acronyms, unfortunately. But, and of course, here's the argument like this. And millennials in particular subscribe to the belief that flexible work schedules make you happier. But anyway, I think even not just looking at millennials, but employees today really look at that way.
And it's a recruitment tool as well, that you can pay less for the job if you offer those intangibles. Which
should sound like music to every owner's ears. Pay less, I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think there's a concern of the quality that you're getting, but then we can all kind of look introspectively. When I'm working from home, I realize, you know, it's noon and I haven't even taken a shower yet because I've just been sitting here banging away for hours and hours and hours. So I'm actually getting more done than I would if I was chitty-chatting around the office and, you know.
So true. So true. I would agree.
I'm old school though. I like going into the office and talking with people and having that.
I'm like you. I'm even older school, but I like that as well. I like talking to people. I like the socialization aspect of it.
Absolutely.
But to your point, it makes me certainly less productive than if I were home just banging it on the you know.
And some of the trade-offs for smaller businesses too is that they're saving on utilities. They're saving on fuel costs or transportation costs, so it can be very cost effective to have that remote workforce as well.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing that in new leases, commercial leases, or office leases, I should say, all around. Typically it's a smaller footprint for people because they don't need as much space.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, with the cost of rent these days right now too, with the market the way it is,
yeah,
that's something to consider. So
they're saying here, ADP did an employee engagement study and compensation and benefits are among the top 2 drivers of employee engagement, but flexibility is the third.
Yes.
So, and sabbaticals. Do you see much? Some people like sabbaticals.
No.
Do you see that much in what you do?
I'm specializing in really the 5 to 150 million client. At that level, it's very difficult to send somebody on sabbatical.
Yeah, so sabbaticals for like a Google or an Apple.
But I know Intel here locally has a sabbatical. I believe Oracle may have a sabbatical. So those larger companies, right, which is, it's an incredible perk.
Because you're basically paid while you're getting time off.
A month off every 6 years or something like that, right? Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of companies migrate to the no PTO program, which is the kind of use it whenever you feel necessary. You're a professional. And I think
don't track it.
And they don't track it.
And I guess the point is, if you take so much vacation, you're not being productive or getting your work done, then it'll show up in your evaluation, and then not tell them no, not to.
Exactly, and I think it's a migration into more autonomy in the workforce, which millennials and Gen Xers and everybody alike, nobody in an interview has ever told me I love to be micromanaged. I'm really looking for an opportunity where someone can micromanage me.
Oh.
And so moving towards that autonomy where you can be a trusted professional to run your business or, you know, get what you need done is really a big selling point.
So no PTO. That's really interesting. Have you had companies that are doing that and have done it for more than, let's say, a couple of years? Or is it all kind of
I think it's a fairly new trend. Well, I mean, it's a cost saver too because the company doesn't have to accrue it and they don't have to pay it out upon termination.
And is that legal in California?
It is.
Oh, nice. Because we just went through Galena, because Galena went out of existence December 31, we had to pay all of our accrued vacation.
Yep.
That was a big check.
And we're now under the no PTO plan at the executive level.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I will tell you that I've taken 0 days off since it became an unlimited program.
Crazy.
So it works.
So they talked about other benefits and perks include things like casual dress code, pet-friendly office policies, summer Fridays. What are some of the things that you've seen out there that employers offer to try to attract, retain talent?
A lot of standards. Gym membership is a really big one right now with CrossFit and yoga and things like that being really hot that they're paying a reimbursement
Speaking of yoga,
for that.
Are you going on your yoga retreat again?
I'm not going to Asia this year. I'm hoping to go to Italy later this year.
You went to Bali last year, right?
I did. I went to Indonesia last March.
Nice.
And this year, though, I'm going to Nevada City for 2 days with Mom. So we're doing a women's retreat for 2 days, right after April 15th.
So gym memberships?
Gym memberships, other little perks like that. A lot of company outings and team building I'm seeing. So, and I don't know how excited employees are about doing these things, but I've seen fishing boat expedition, bowling outings. Everybody gets Topgolf is hot right now. Everybody gets a turkey at Thanksgiving. So, and I think what that says to me is it's not about just writing you a check every 6 months. It's about investing in you as an individual, and it's the little things. You know, the little perks. Here's a meal, or here's an outing, or we're bringing in dinner tonight just to recognize people, and the focus on acknowledging the little achievements versus just go back to your cubicle, we'll pay you for what you do and give you a big bonus and leave us alone. You know, it's a much more integrated approach.
You know what I've done before in the past couple of years is if someone works hard on a project, maybe it's under a deadline or something, then I'll say to that person, why don't you and your spouse go eat a dinner, have a nice meal, and then, you know, we'll pay for it.
Sure. Or
so as a little perk versus, you know, here, let me give you a meal here in the office with us, which they don't want to eat with us.
Or a $50 gift card
to Macy's
to Olive Garden or wherever people go to dinner.
So quirkier benefits are things like offering employees pet insurance, unlimited vacation days, there you go, right there, or dedicated nursing rooms for new mothers, which I think we've got rooms such as that at our office.
We do.
So.
With my HR hat on, I caution companies to offer perks that don't apply to everybody. So pet insurance, if you're allergic to pets and you can't have it, the benefit doesn't subscribe to you. Yeah. So things that everybody can be a part of, I think, are a lot more, you know, like a gym membership. Anyone can take advantage of that. You don't have to be a dog owner.
Unless you want to go to a dog gym.
Right, or you're offering something alternative so you're not excluding certain groups of people. So something like that I think is a really amazing perk. And then offering the flexibility around that schedule. So if they go to a morning workout class and come in a little bit later, it's completely supported.
Yeah, well, and, you know, that's a good point, and that's how the article finishes up. You could have written this article. I think the article finishes up with it, you need to have buy-in from the company executives. So it's not enough just to say, oh yeah, we offer this stuff, but then, you know, so the CEO, you know, it's not enough that the CEO says flexible schedules are okay, but the CEO has to be okay with someone having a flexible schedule.
Right. And the trade-off of that, as with everything, is that you're on the clock more. I mean, people start coming in at 7 in the morning, you're starting to get emails earlier. People don't leave the office until 7 at night. Maybe if you leave at 4, you're feeling this obligation to check your phone before dinner because there are still people getting things done. Right? And so it does create a longer work hour, which necessitates being more accommodating to life, picking up your dry cleaning and day-to-days.
Well, Katie, thank you for being on the show today. It's always great to have you on. We'll have you on more, and with co-hosting with some guests coming up down the line in the future. If you want to get a hold of Katie, 916-784-7800 or katie.mcconnell@claconnect.com. This is Mark Bellows, same number at mark.bellows@claconnect.com. We'll see you next week.
It goes by so fast.
It does.
It took me longer to get here than we were.
Yeah.
Seriously.
All right. We're done.